How we doing, guys, and welcome back to Best Soccer Coaching's Coaches Corner. Today we've got three coaches that I've previously worked for before, three good coaches. We've got Lee McGarrity, we've got Adam Stewart, and we've got Zander Carruth. What we're going to be doing today, guys, is we're going to have a wee chilled chat. Going to be talking about coaching experiences, talk about coaching past, and inspirations, and aspirations as well. So I'm just going to pass you over to the boys, and they're going to tell you a wee bit about their coaching experiences and qualifications.
All right. How you doing, Lewis?
How you doing, Lee? Good.
Good, mate. I so kind of mostly back in the kind of female game, working that started off at Celtic and went into Glasgow City and kind of jumped from the both of them, to be honest, kind of back and forward and kind of a team environment. Obviously doing international stuff with Celtic as well, and being abroad a few times. So it's kind of range of kind of recreational players and kind of academy players as well. So a kind of good experience of both, working with the beginner level and academy level.
Good. Adam?
All right. Hi guys, I'm Adam. I've worked with a couple of teams just now. At the moment working with Morton Academy, working on the sales teams. Top of that, I worked with a couple of clubs, both here and abroad. So clubs like Celtic, Queen's Park, Hearts, St Mirren, and abroad I worked with Juventus a couple of times in Saudi and Kuwait. Worked with a couple of different groups, both boys, girls, males and females. So yeah, no, good to have us. Thanks for having us on.
And last but not least, the king himself, Zander Carruth.
How you doing? So some of the guys have had a lot of experience in different environments. So right now, me and Adam are working together at Morton. Previously as well, me and Adam were together out in Kuwait with Juventus. But here, I've had my own teams and things like that, and done a lot of sessions all the way from mini kickers all the way to walking football. So a wide spectrum, working where players want to make a living out of the game, a career out of it, and players just doing it recreationally. So I've got a good experience with a lot of groups of players.
Good. So as you can see, guys, we've got a broad range of coaching experience here. Some good, some bad. Not going to name anybody with the good and bad here, but I think they'll know themselves. Just a wee break for the video, guys, to mention our sponsor today. Our sponsors, K-Mac Plasterers, best plasters in Glasgow. Definitely go get them checked out. The link's going to be in the description. Make sure you check them out, guys. So first of all, I'm just going to talk a wee bit about your favourite coaches and inspirations. So people that you try to model yourself after. I know Zander tries to model himself after Gascoigne, but that's not really to do with coaching. But we talk about our favourite coaches and inspirations and who we want to model ourselves after. So on you go, Lee, you can give the first one.
I mean, I don't know if there's much coaches, it's probably more teams you kind of look at, because also it's all about, for me, about players rather than the coaches. Obviously, you can only work with the certain players you've got, but obviously Pep is probably the biggest one you look at, where you look at the teams he's had, but yeah, his philosophy and his mindset of how he plays and stuff like that is phenomenal. But I think you've got to look at his players and the players he's worked with. I think if you took him into a Celtic team, for example, or whatever, then is he going to get the same answers and stuff like that, the same kind of philosophy as he did at Barcelona and stuff? But I think Pep's probably the biggest one, because you look at just the way that the players are so confident and so brave. And you see with Man City right now, John Stones is a big example of coming from, was it Everton he came from? I think so.
Yes.
Everton, where he was maybe just defending a lot and not really playing it from the back. And now you look at him, he's probably become one of the best centre backs in the world. Arguably, I'm sure people debate it, but the fact that he's so brave and confident now to just go and get on the ball, which is fantastic. And that's how everybody wants to play football, I think, now, is the kind of Pep way everyone talks about, playing it from the back and stuff like that, and the way attacks, which is great. And obviously the whole kind of recent thing with not actually having a striker, playing with a kind of false nine and stuff like that, has been great to watch. So probably Pep is probably the biggest one I've kind of looked at over the last couple of years. And but I think it's down to the players. I think you look at the players he's got is unbelievable, and his record has been fantastic.
Sorry, I don't know.
No, for me, like obviously these coaches are brilliant. It's great to watch like on the TV and like listen to stuff about them, listen to stories, listen to like them talk. But for me, I've kind of more taken an approach based on coaches I've worked with or coaches I've been coached by, where they're showing different parts to me. Like their knowledge of the game's been unbelievable, or their character's been fantastic. They're like a real enthusiasm for the game. So I've kind of taken a lot of kind of inspiration from those kind of people. More kind of the grassroots level, the guys that do it for the enjoyment, and I find them really interesting to watch and listen to and hear the real enthusiasm. Also, looking at managers like Brendan Rodgers, Pep Guardiola, Jurgen Klopp, Steven Gerrard, all like unbelievable managers, done great things in the game. So it's great to like look at them, use them as a good example.
I like how you sneaked Steven Gerrard in at the end there.
I know, I had to get in.
Especially for this year.
Aye,
and with Steven
like,
Gerrard, we move on to... Well, we were talking about Steven Gerrard, we've definitely got some experience this year from it.
Yeah, definitely. And he's looked as well from where he's taken Rangers from. Like the team is inherited when he first started to the team he's got now. It's mad to think that we're looking at games with Nicky Law and Danny Wilson at the back thinking, oh, we've got a chance here. Whereas this team would get rolled over by the current Rangers team. So.
And on the subject of Rangers, we'll pass ourselves over to Zander.
Well, see, when I think about sort of coaches and things that maybe inspire me, I think it in a different way. The point is, a lot of managers, and I mean top managers, they get jobs and positions due to their sort of past playing career, whereas I don't really have a notable playing career. I've no had 40 international caps. I've no played in Champions Leagues. So I like seeing coaches and managers who maybe it goes against the grain a bit that they've not got a notable sort of playing career as such, and they've earned their stripes by working their way up. So, like for example, Marco Rose now over in Germany, he's been managing an under 16s team, an under 18s team, worked his way up from reserves to first team, things like that. Even coaches like Michael Beale at Rangers, and it's this week as well, Gerrard came out and said that Michael Beale's a huge big part of the success and probably doesn't get enough credit. And with Michael Beale as well, he's put himself out there a lot of time. He went over and worked in Brazil. He's been with Chelsea, he's been with Liverpool at youth level, and this is his first big job, you could say, where there's an expectation to go and win, and it would be easy for clubs to even look at him. And even I know it didn't exactly work out. Like Ian Castle when he was at Hearts, Ian Castle, he was different, he was new, and people didn't like change. People don't like that sort of new method, and you're always going to get scrutinised for it. But he was brave enough to put himself in that position. He tried a lot of new things, and people say, nah, he's not a good coach, not a good manager, or whatever. But he's at Wolves now. He's part of the first team set up at Wolves, and you can't deny the success Wolves have had, considering where they were 2, 3, 4 years ago. So the people like that probably have been my sort of bigger inspirations. The point is that if you work hard enough and you're good enough, there's chances at every level of the game if you just apply yourself. So probably guys like that.
I'm quite obviously it's like again it's quite different. So we've got like the high level ones we're talking about, like people we've coached with, and talk about yourselves and like the ones that we've worked through. I'm kind of the mix of the three of them. So I've been looking at like Pep and Fergie and stuff like that, but I've also taken probably most of my most valuable coaching experiences from my lecturers at college. So like say Chris Hendry, David McGarrity, Sean Gallagher, they're the three ones that have helped me get to the coaching I've got today. And it's good to look at like coaches like, is it Martindale, that's Livingston manager? Aye. Like look at what he's been able to do with Livingston. And again, you're saying not that much a notable playing career, but look at where he is now and look at the success he's getting, and it's admirable, and it's something that we can look at, like us four as coaches, and think, here, I can get to that level, because as you're saying, we're not really Champions League players, we're hardly even Sunday League players for us, maybe except for Lee, but we're not that great like playing wise, but we've got the brain of the coach, and it gives us something to look push forward to and look forward with as well. We're going to talk about something current just now. So obviously COVID just now and the restrictions, and it's caused a lot of problems for coaching. We were talking about this before we started. Apart from that, what would you say some of your biggest coaching difficulties have been? Like, even if it's developing philosophy or whatever. We'll start with Zander this time.
So, right, I don't know if it's just a West of Scotland thing, right? But when I started first coaching, maybe like 17, 18, you're half scared to go and put new ideas across to doing something new because you're scared you get maybe criticised, moaned at. And as well, if someone's watching my session, and I don't mean this a bad way, I think it's just a sort of West of Scotland thing, is that if you try something new, do something different, and another coach is watching or whatever, they're more likely to pick out the bad points than they are the good. So I think the big difficulty as well is sometimes you play it safe. You go, I know this session looks decent. I know it looks great. So you do that instead of putting yourself out there and going, I will get my ideas across. I will try something new. So that's something probably the last year I've went, I'm just going to do it what I think and trust myself. But it's not as easy. I found that quite a big difficulty for a long time. As well as that now, right, and I know I'm going to sound like I'm pure old here considering I'm only 22, right, but there's more competition to compete with in terms of you need to make your football sessions and your training, things like that, more enjoyable than Warzone, more enjoyable than Ultimate Team, more enjoyable than things like that, more enjoyable than social media. And I'm not saying that it's a bad thing as such, these other things, but you need to be wary of that when you're coaching, that players, it might not be that players always want to be there. Players might rather sit in the house playing PlayStation. So you need to consider that when you're coaching. That could be a difficulty. You need to go, I'm in competition here. Football's in competition with other things. So that's down to you to just sort of be aware of that and make sure what you're producing for these players are better than the other alternatives.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point, actually. It's not just competing with like sports or like seeing your pals anymore. Like, kids can see their pals through a PS4 and an Xbox now, and that is quite hard, especially with lockdown. Some kids have gone into the routine. They'll do their homework and then straight on to that PS4 or Xbox or whatever, and it's hard for them to break out of that routine. So that's a good one as well. Adam?
So this is a kind of issue I've kind of found myself mostly when I'm in the west of Scotland or Scotland in general in the UK. Every parent's now a coach, apparently. I'm not criticising parents and stuff like that. Like, I know everyone, like, parents do a good job and they support their kids for the most part. Most parents are very helpful. But from our kind of, I'm going to use the word professional here, right? But from our professional standpoint, from parents coming on criticising everything you do, when you are trying something new, or if you are trying something a bit different, something that's never been tried before the club or this team, if it doesn't work, they're the first ones on your back. I mean, I'm not talking about all parents, but for the most part, parents are good. But kind of struggle that I've found across a couple of clubs is just resistance. If something doesn't go their way, they're so set in winning straight away, especially from young ages. So if they're not getting results straight away, then they're taking their child to another club, or they're taking their child to another coach or whatever. So yeah, from some parents I found sometimes it's difficult to get a bit of support, but generally a lot of parents are very helpful in how they're more desperate for their son to enjoy it, or son or daughter, sorry, to enjoy what they're doing and develop rather than win constantly.
You found that I've known a few clubs now. I think Rossville was one of them. It was the games, the parents would have to stand outside the cage, so they would have no influence on the players during the game. And obviously we're probably like coaching sessions and playing as well. So if the fact that a club's having to do that and get them on the outside for this age level, then it shows that you are trying to battle against the parents coaching as well, when really you're just there to try to help the kids and do your own job. Yeah, like I mean, sorry, just going on that, just like see from working abroad and stuff like that, I've never seen that done. We've never had to say maybe parents don't come to train or stand away for games. I've never seen that before. So something that's kind of issue I've only seen here. So yeah, there we go. Rant over. Right. That is a good point. Like, all 4 years have been in America coaching, so we know that it's not like that over there. obviously yourself and Zander have been over at Q8, and I can only imagine what it's like there, as you're saying. So it is a West of Scotland problem, not necessarily a problem, but something that it does build a wee bit of a barrier between the kid and the coach, I feel. And it's something that if there's a good relationship there, that from both sides it would help make it a lot easier for the kids' growth. Lee, how are you?
Yeah, I suppose kind of touching on Zander's point, because those 2 points are probably the main kind of distractions within football. I think, social media and PS4s and Xboxes and parents are probably the 2 biggest, because at the end of the day, most kids want to be at football. Most kids want to play football, but I think the biggest one is obviously off the pitch in terms of the kind of PlayStation, Xbox, and social media, because they sometimes bring that onto the pitch. Whether that is they said this behind my back, whatever, on social media and stuff like that. So that kind of stuff. When you get up to a kind of older age group, obviously some players might do that. Might talk to other clubs, might talk to other people and stuff like that, and that kind of sense. So trying to get that, and I said philosophy to start. I'm going to keep saying philosophy in my word for this next hour, but having that philosophy where all the players are on the same page, they're all in the same mentality, where they want to be at training, they know the values of the team, they know the values of themselves, and that lets them know what to expect when they get to training. And that means hopefully all that stuff off the pitch, just when the parents drop them off, when they come away from the PlayStation or social media or their phone, they know what's expected of them. And I think that's so important, especially now, obviously what we've kind of went through the last couple of years, well, the last year anyway, with not actually being able to train and being able to be out in the pitch. I think a lot of, especially me anyways, as a coach, I've kind of noticed that, trying to get that mentality right with the team, making sure that the core values are there and everything's there. So that means when we get back in the pitch, social media is not going to distract them. The PlayStation is not going to distract them. Parents shouldn't distract them either. It's all about getting them on the pitch and hopefully having that kind of core group where you're working as a team and not individuals, and you're not getting distracted by those little things. I'm not saying you're always going to get it. You're always going to be one or two players that might get distracted by their parents or social media, but you can try and get it.
Aye, that's I think, just to sum up, kind of like distractions in general. I've found, especially early on in my coaching career, was other coaches coming into sessions, and you're supposed to be doing your role and this type of thing, and you would find there were some coaches that were quite overpowering. You maybe they'd have a wee bit more experience, but it's something certainly that I've done with the company and coaching by maybe younger coaches, is you let them come in and do their part as well. But it's something I thought when I was coming in as a coach, is I felt very overpowered, I wasn't getting to grow as a coach, because some coaches felt they had this sense of entitlement because they've been coaching for 10-15 years. And also you're talking about the distractions again, that's a big thing, especially because most of us coach youth players. When you're coming on to it, I feel like players nowadays feel like they've got an image they need to uphold. So obviously a social status thing as well. So if they're coming into a team session and don't know, say we're doing a switch of play or something like that, and someone doesn't want to try and do that switch or make a certain pass in case of getting embarrassed in front of their pals, and they don't want to be outcasted or slagged. And I feel it's building a social status around not just as a player, but as yourself now. And I think a lot of kids feel like that, because I know certainly when we play football, or when we were younger, we just went to play football. It was not to do what everybody else thought it was. It was just we went to go play football because we loved the game. And I think that's kind of missing just now from some players. Aye, it's kind of lost a wee bit, and I think it's something that really needs to come back. Obviously we see this Scotland success, but that's for guys for our age. They've not grew up with the social media age, so you can only imagine what's going to come in the 10-15 years time, where it's a social media stage, if we're going to produce this talent, because they're too busy thinking about what other people think of them, type of thing.
Yeah, so just to kind of have a point on that, obviously you've got all these, I don't want to sound cringy here, but obviously influencers and stuff like that. I think that's obviously a huge part of it, off the pitch and obviously on the pitch as well. You got all these influencers, but I think the most important thing, the message is for youth players these days, is you should influence you. No one else should influence you in what you want. You just do what you want, basically. You know, you go and be the person you want to be. You wake up and be you. Don't wake up and go through social media and go, oh, look, that person's away in Dubai, or that person's in America, I want to be them. You know, they should wake up, and I think I've done it myself, you know, woke up and went through my phone and stuff like that, but I think it's so important for youth players these days to try and think about themselves more than, as you said, think about what other people are going to think. You've just got to kind of be yourself almost, and that sounds so cringy, but you know what I mean, you've got to just think of yourself these days as youth players, because that's how the world is.
That's a good point. By the way, you must have a dictionary or something like that before you came on here. All your philosophy.
Yeah, I'm loving my podcast, mate.
These theories.
No coaching at all. I've been on my podcast, mate. Loving
it. We're going to talk a bit about coaching aspirations. So that can be within the next month or the next year, or I would say after COVID's away, but I don't know when that's going to be. So coaching aspirations, maybe give me a 5-year plan of what you would like to do. So go back with Lee.
Aye, so I've done my UEFA B licence in terms of the course. I just need to do the assessment. So for me, within obviously the next year, obviously it's the in-person assessment you need to do. So I'd like to get that done hopefully this year. Again, COVID's pushed it back, but hopefully get it done this year, and then that sets you up. I think it's a lot more recognised, you know, in terms of working abroad, and I think that's most coaches, especially now, obviously without being stuck in Scotland for the last year. I think it's so. Like most coaches want to be abroad, so for me, moving abroad and working in a club abroad would be the goal. Obviously, I'm in the girls' side just now, in the girls' academy. I would like to eventually get into the boys' side academy. I don't know if that would be something within the next couple of years, or would it be within the next year or so, short term. But I think the most important thing is to get your UEFA B licence, and then hopefully get abroad, and then work in some sort of club environment abroad, even if it was a kind of university setup or something as well. It'd be interesting. But yeah, I think, don't want to steal everybody's thunder, but I think most coaches now are going to be thinking abroad and try and get something abroad, because it's everyone knows there's not a huge amount of opportunities in Scotland. So yeah, probably coaching a club abroad would be my kind of aspirations for the next couple of years, especially.
That's the kind of links back to what we were talking about before, about the West of Scotland type of thing. Like, yeah. Obviously, we've seen what it's been like abroad with the Forays, so it's obviously a lot more appealing for us to go and do it over there, because you get more chances. Adam?
Yeah, I'm going to steal Lee's answer. Hopefully looking to finish the B licence this year. Obviously, just need to do the practical and the assessment now, so just COVID permitting, just waiting for that to start back up. Obviously, before all this, I was working abroad, so I would like to get back out there. I maybe not to the Middle East this time, maybe I'll try and look somewhere else, hopefully America. I've been looking at Canada, Australia, but right now, immediately try and finish a B licence, and then look to see what kind of opportunities there are. But definitely like to try and get something abroad, something full time, and just try a different lifestyle as well. Because for me, it's not just about looking for the ideal job; it's looking for, somewhere I can live, somewhere I can enjoy myself, somewhere I can have a life, basically. So I know it's a bit philosophical there, but
basically.
Sorry, 100%.
I think that's what we're all looking for. We're all looking a bit pale now, so I think we want to do the same thing.
You're just missing the sunnies, that's all.
I missed. That's why I've got this light in front of me. It's trying to give me some decent tan right now. Have you UV ray? And talk about suntans. We've got on his Zander now.
To be fair, I'm like myself. I think I look alright. I don't go for sunbeds, so I'm like, I look alright, innit?
You think Morgan fake tan?
Behave. So my aspiration, similar to guys, is doing the UEFA B, but COVID's delayed it massively. So after that, ideally I'd like to go abroad. To the point is, for now, I've no real sort of commitments. To the point, I've not got a mortgage here. I've no, do you know what I'm saying? I could move there now before it's probably too late and life gets in the way. So I'd like to move abroad, but ideally in the long term, I want to work first team, and I don't know if I'd be happy just being a first team coach, assistant at anything. I like pressured situations. enjoy, the having to win, having to get better. Not the point is you're doing it for enjoyment, you're doing it because you need to win, because there's a responsibility. So probably abroad it would be the best option, because similar to what I was saying earlier with coaches you look up to, in Britain it's very rare to get that opportunity without a recognised playing career. So probably abroad for now anyway, and then hopefully long term can even here probably work in a first team environment, whatever level that's at. I'm happy as long as I've got food on the table. Money's not a huge thing to me. Obviously I need money to get by, but that bit for me, ideally work abroad or in a first team environment, even better do both. So yeah.
That's something quite similar myself. I want to try to get first team level, but obviously I know 5 years time that's going to be quite tough. But again, like everybody else, I want to try move abroad, and I want to try build like my coaching up and just take all these different experiences and try, like yourself, get to that first team aspect. It doesn't need to be the manager, but as long as I'm in and involved within the first team, and it's something that I would be really interested in. Like when I was talking to Fran last week, he started off as a cleaner and then became the translator and then developed into the coaching. So even if it's like doing that type of, not exactly that type of route, because I'm terrible at cleaning, but even if it is that route of just getting your nice wee way in, doing the coaching, being around it, and then getting asked to go up, then it's something that I'd be really interested in. And obviously try grow best soccer coaching as big as possible. Again, money's not everything. It's just something that I would like to put into to show I've been able to do that, and I've been able to work hard and make it big as possible.
When you were talking about like Fran there, like how he worked his way up, football's got a funny way. Most opportunities and positions I've had, I fell into it. I've not applied to it. It's knowing people. So when that networking is a huge thing in football, that's why you need to put yourself out there and get yourself recognised in a way. Talk to people, ask people questions, because football is a bit like a village. Everyone knows everyone, so you need to make sure that you're getting known. Especially like that's how I fell into a lot of positions. So that's something that people probably need to consider as well. It's not just about what you know; it's who you know, as the saying goes.
And just being known in the right way, be known as a good person. That's very important. Like for example, like when we're looking at a great job last year, when we're looking at somebody else to come in, Zander was one of the first people I thought of. So I know Zander, he's a good guy. Well, sometimes. So that's why I knew straight away that he'd be a great person for it as well, not just to the coaching side.
Aye, that's something like, again, that's happened myself. Like it was Adam. You said to me about the gift when I went in the gift, it was all about who you know and trying to network, and you need to have that type of open personality that you can be able to speak to people and people will happily recommend you as well. Last thing before we finish up, we're going to be talking about coaching and coaching stories, right? So for everybody watching and listening, they can have a wee giggle with this and you can give us your best coaching stories, right? So I think we'll save Zander to the last, right? We'll give Zander the last one. And actually, Adam, you can use the first one if you get any coaching stories or anything like that you want to use.
Come back to us, but I wonder if Zander's going to mention a famous Canadian player, because he's never mentioned that before.
So like my bit, I'll go first. See, the worst story that I can actually link at coaching, right, was doing a session one time. I just started with a team. It's my first session, and you know that way you need to get yourself known, and if you want a tempo in your session, you need to be enthusiastic and things like that. So I was doing like a sort of possession-based game, but I would always play the ball in. So I got 1 foot on top of the ball and I'm firing them in every time the ball got a place. So yes. Got 1 foot in the ball the whole time. One of the other players, another pitch, balls went over and they pass it over. And I'm that focused on the tempo. Honestly, I've got 1 foot on top of the ball with my right foot and the balls came over. And I've tried to like stop the ball with my sole on my left foot. So I'm on top of these 2 fit boys. And needless to say what happened, in front of the whole session, my first session with this team, right, flying right in my ass, and it was one of the ones though. players probably, and I try to make it relevant and such. Players gave a laugh and things like that, but then they saw, he doesn't take himself too serious. At the point is, I was showed that I've got a fun side to me and things like that. Right after, say we went back to normal, but it showed a bit of my character as well. I like a laugh, I like a joke, and I have the ability to sort of laugh at myself. So, but that was a good unit. Honestly, it was a big bruise. So for it 3 days.
You're a big softie, but that's how.
I know.
Right, Lee, you got a story for us?
Well, mine isn't going to be as, maybe not as positive. I don't know if that's a positive or negative story, Zander, but I would think it's a positive.
Never really know, Zander, do you?
Mine's just more of a kind of learning one where, again, talking about that kind of team togetherness and stuff like that. I was, I won't say the club rating, but I was doing a warm up. I was making, it was a match day, and I was out doing the warm up on the pitch and put the team up and stuff like that in the changing room, and so the girls seen the team and everything and stuff like that. So everything was fine. I walked out, started putting out cones for the warm up and stuff like that. Everything was good. I thought, I mean, we're playing one of our rivals as well, so kind of looking forward to the game. And before you know it, this parent walks on the pitch. Actually, going back to Adam's obviously point with parents being the distraction or whatever the kind of restriction, but a parent walks on the pitch and starts saying, "Why is my kid not playing?" I'm thinking, they've not even come out of the room yet. I'm putting down cones. How do you know that she's not playing? So stay away. I'm like, well, how do you even know? And she's like, oh, she texted me telling me I'm not starting. I'm like, all right. So kind of asking questions straight away, but I was relatively young at the time, kind of starting off my coaching career, and he's kind of having a back and forward, having a go and stuff like that. So, he's basically in my face, like saying why is she not starting, why is she not playing, kind of thing. So I'm trying to set up a warm up. I'm trying to put down cones, trying to put out a rondo box. And getting absolute eyes build out. But I think that kind of story for me was, again, going back, learning from that is having that team togetherness where it doesn't matter if you're starting or not. I mean, granted, obviously that parent was maybe a little bit different, but I think if you have that togetherness within the team, it doesn't really matter about who's starting, who's playing, or whatever. But that was maybe not the most interesting story, but I think a story that you learn from a lot as a kind of younger coach, where you're thinking, what do I say in this situation? What do I do? Do I be completely honest with them, or do I just say don't talk to me right now and talk to me on Tuesday, which is probably what I should have done, but at the time I was honest with him, which he probably didn't like. I basically told him why she wasn't starting, but yeah, I think the most important thing is you kind of learn from stories. It's an experience at the end of the day. It's not you don't live and then that's it. It happens. I'm sort of wish now, but you know what I mean. But yeah, it's quite a good life lesson that you don't just react to things straight away. You're always kind of proactive in terms of you're always ready for something. You're always ready for. Also, I wasn't ready for that, but I'm ready for it now. You're always proactive. You never react to things. You never react to it in a negative way either. But yeah, having that kind of team togetherness is something that made me really important thing for me now.
It's good because that's obviously that can be used as a learning curve as well. So you can go, as you said, how do I deal with this in a different situation? Obviously, you'll deal with that a lot different now than you would have back then.
Yeah.
Right, Adam, give us it. I hope this is a good one. We've been waiting.
Oh, it's rubbish. I probably received the world's biggest backhanded compliment ever, to be honest. So I think I was about 20 at the time. I was assistant coach of the women's football team. The head coach was away on holiday or something, so I was left in charge of the game. So I had everything sorted, shirt and tie on. I didn't have a shirt and tie on. Had it sorted, warm up and all that out. Team talk for game. Playing against Rangers as well, so it was a kind of big game. I think at the time we were challenging for promotion. Anyway, set the team up for the game, go through the team talk, no problems. Well, I thought there was no problems anyway. Half time, 3-0 down. Absolute calamity. So half time we've got on, we've talked about it, we managed to change it up. I can't remember what we brought it back to. I think it was either 3 or 3-2. Can't mind. But anyway, after the game, I had one of the girls come up to me, It's like, before the game, your team talk was a wee bit off. I was like, nah, yeah, I kind of realised that looking back now. She was like, but you said it with such conviction. I just thought it was true, so I just went with you. So like, oh, there we go. I mean, I can lie my way out of situations as a good.
And you still do that to this day.
Sorry?
You still do that to this day. You don't know what you're talking about with your coaching, but you still, as much conviction, it still works.
5 years later, I can tell you blue's green, and there'll be enough conviction, believe me.
As long as you say it this season, then I'll be happy. That's all right.
Nah, you're all right.
One of the ones that sticks in my mind was one of my first sessions and one of the big roles I'd had so far, and I was setting out this switch of play, and I've went to do the demonstration. I went like, this is what you do, taking the back foot, and I went to ping it about 20-30 yards, but it was icy and it was snowing, so I went to do that, and I've went right up in the air, and I've cracked my head off the ice, and I was lying there for about a good 10-15 minutes, and I had to go sit at the side, and my assistant had to take the rest of the session because I'd sit there with near enough a concussion on my first session. So basically, that's a story to make sure that if you're going to make a pass on ice, make sure it's somebody good that's making the pass, and not somebody like me.
That's why you never do it yourself. Pass it on. Pass it back.
That's it. Give it to someone else. It's never your fault. That's the main thing. But that's us for today, guys. So I want to say a thank you to Lee, Adam, and Zander for coming on. All their coaching stuff is going to be linked in as below, so you can go check them out. And then if you want to do any sessions with them, you can give them a bell. But thanks, guys, for coming on, and that's us for today. Cheers again, guys.
Cheers, guys.
No, cheers. See you later on, mate.